Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing credit and credit cards. Why do you need a credit card? What does a credit card do for you? We're going to talk about how to properly use a credit card. We're going to debunk some credit card myths. And we're also going to talk about the best credit cards to get when you're first starting out. This video is perfect if you are just starting out with credit, or if you're older and you have just never established credit, or maybe you have bad credit and you're looking to fix it. These are subjects that they don't teach you in school that you need for life. I'm going to help set you up for success, and I hope you're ready to take notes because I'm telling you this is information you're going to need. So let's start this video out with some facts. Around 80% of Americans have credit card debt. That's around 189 million people, and the average cardholder has 4 credit cards. And each household carries over $8,000 in credit card debt alone. So most people might think credit cards are bad. I'm never gonna get one. It's just gonna get me into debt, and I'll be in financial trouble like most of Americans today. Wrong. In fact, 45% of Americans pay off their credit card at the end of the month. Credit cards are an amazing tool and a must to build your credit. All you have to do is follow one simple rule. Treat your credit card as if it were cash. A lot of people think that credit cards are there for when you don't have money on hand or for emergencies. And that way of thinking is what gets so many people into financial trouble. A credit card is only to be used to build your credit. And once you build your credit, the world of opportunity opens up to you to purchase the car that you want, the home that you want. Living in America, credit is everything. The world revolves around these numbers. So let me very quickly explain what your credit score is, what poor, average, and good credit looks like, and then we'll get right back into credit cards. Credit scores range anywhere between 300 and 850. So make sure you jot this down. 580 and under is considered poor credit. 580 to 669 is considered fair credit. 670 to 739 is considered good credit. 740 to 799 is considered very good credit. And then of course, 800 plus is exceptional. So you're probably thinking, I want to have a really good credit score. Where do I start? I'm going to tell you. The best way to build your credit starting out is to go to your bank and ask for a secured credit card because you have no credit history. And no credit history is equivalent to bad credit. Now, a secured credit card is when you put down a deposit. It's usually anywhere between $200, $250 to $500. You give the bank that money. They put it in a savings account for you that you cannot touch, and they keep it as collateral. So however much you put down in that deposit, let's just say $300, that gives you a $300 credit spending limit. A credit card is a loan given by the bank, and it should be paid off at the end of every month. I've got some pumpkin creamer in this coffee and it is so good. You're only using your credit card if you have that equivalent amount in the bank. When you're going grocery shopping, rather than swiping your debit card, you'll swipe your credit card. When you go to get gas, you swipe your credit card. When you go out to eat, credit card. You got it. And most credit cards offer perks, and we'll get into that later. So the more you swipe it for groceries, gas, eating out, they reward you and give you cash back for it. So it's even better than using a debit card. So let's say it's the first of the month, you went to the bank, you got yourself a secured credit card, and you swiped it for groceries, gas, and dining out. Now it's coming toward the end of the month and it's time to pay your bill. When you receive that first bill, you're going to see the very bottom of that statement and it says due date. The due date is just a date that the credit card company gave you. What you need to find out, write this down, is when your cycle close date is. The cycle close date is going to be your true due date. Typically 1 to 2 business days after your cycle close date is when the creditor reports to the credit bureaus. So if your statement doesn't have the cycle close date on it, which most of them typically don't, you do have to call your credit card company and ask them specifically when that date is and log that into your phone or put it on your calendar or whatever you do to remind yourself. As long as you pay on the due date that the credit card company gives you, you're not going to be considered late. But it's important to pay on the cycle close date so that you're not going into another cycle. And I'll let you know why. Let's just say you have a $1,000 limit on your credit card. Rule of thumb is that you want to spend under 30% of your credit limit available. I suggest keeping it at 20%, but 20 to 25 is great. So 20% of $1,000 is $200. That means you don't want to run up more than $200 on your card per billing cycle. So if your billing cycle ends on the 28th of the month, but the due date on your credit card, the due date, right, on the statement says the 30th of the month, and you spend $130 on something, the cycle close date was the 28th, and on the 29th and 30th, you spent that additional $130, not realizing. So you went over the 30%. Make sure you call your credit card company and find out when the cycle closing date is and what date they report to the credit bureaus. And if you're able to, it's also a really great idea to do an automatic withdrawal. Whenever your credit card payment is due, it automatically comes out of your bank account. This way you don't have to worry about anything happening to where you can't make your payment or you forget and then you're late. Because again, if you're late paying your credit card, it stays on your credit for 7 years. That's right, they don't play. How is your credit score even calculated? There are a couple of factors. The first one is how long you've had open credit. The longer, the better, of course. And how much credit you use versus how much your credit limit is. Jot this down. This is called the utilization rate. So that's what we just discussed as far as staying below 30%. So you might have a $1,000 credit limit. You definitely don't want to spend it. You want to keep it below 30%. You want to keep it 200, 250. Your credit score is also calculated by your on-time payments, having a mix of credit, like not just credit cards, but maybe an auto loan, a mortgage, things of that nature. And lastly, something called total inquiries. And this one isn't like a really big one, but it does lower your credit score a little bit, but it only lasts about 6 months. So it's not detrimental to your credit score. Okay, now going back to getting your secured credit card. Let's just say you went to your bank, you got your secured credit card, you've been keeping your utilization rate exactly where it should be, making your payments on time, and 6 months has gone by. It's usually between 6 months and a year, but after about 6 months, you will have established some good credit. This is the time that you can now apply for a charge card. A charge card is just a credit card that's not a secured credit card, it's just a standard credit card that is meant to be paid off at the end of every month. This is now going to be the second credit card that you have, right? You're going to keep that secured credit card line open. So even though it's paid off and maybe you're not using it, do not close it, whatever you do, because if you close out a credit card, you erase all of that history. Once you open a credit card, you want to keep it open for life. So now that you are getting your first charge card, I'll give you some tips on things to look for when choosing your card. Now, this is a card you're going to have forever, so you want to make sure that the perks suit your lifestyle and it's a credit card that you want. There's so many to choose from, and you have to read the fine print, you guys, because a lot of them don't have annual fees, but some of them do. So that means that you'll have to pay, $100, $250, whatever their annual fee is, just to have your credit card open. So make sure that you're reading that. What to look for when you're choosing your first charge card. Look for no annual fees. Look for reward perks, such as cashback, travel perks, things of that nature, and sign-on bonuses, also known as welcome bonus. Rewards and cashback options are so great because if you're going to spend the money anyway, you might as well get the cash back. A debit card is not going to give you perks like that. You're not going to be able to cash in points. It's not going to help you in travel. There are so many perks when it comes to credit cards, and we're about to get into more. Did you know that most credit cards offer better protection than a debit card? Consumer protection, fraud protection. They allow reversals for things like, let's just say a company sent you a package and you open up your door, you pick it up, it's damaged and broken. You call the company and they say, hey, it got delivered. That's not our fault, not our problem. With a credit card, a lot of times they put insurance on all of your electronic purchases like the American Express does. So you don't have to buy warranty or insurance. If it's bought with the American Express credit card, you automatically get a year's warranty, or if it already has a year warranty, it'll double the warranty, like perks like that. If you get your identity stolen and someone starts swiping the credit card company will return that money to you. But if it's a debit card and they swipe your card, the money is connected to your account. And so a lot of times they won't return that money to you. So now we'll talk about the best credit cards to start with if you are just starting out with credit, or if you have bad credit and you're trying to rebuild. And then we'll close with some credit card myths. If you're still with me, this is where you're really going to benefit, so get your pen and paper ready. Discover It has a secured and a non-secured credit card. If you already have bad credit, you can go to discover.com and apply for the secured Discover card. They report to all 3 credit bureaus. This is very important. Most secured credit cards only report to 1 or 2 credit bureaus. This one reports to all 3, so it's the fastest way to build your credit. Now, if your credit is terrible, Discover It may deny you, but it's worth a shot. Try anyway. If that doesn't work, go to your bank or try another secured credit card. Worst case scenario, you'll have to pay $25 a year in order to obtain a secured credit card, but just make sure that you're paying it on time and that they do report to all 3 credit bureaus. And then just give it 6 months to a year and you'll be on your way to good credit. So Discover It has a secured credit card and a non-secured credit card. The non-secured credit card is just a regular charge card and it gives you 2% cash back on everything. So it doesn't matter if it's groceries, gas, pay your cable bill, you're still gonna get 2% cash back on all your purchases. And they have no annual fees. Next is the Bank of America Cash Rewards card, and they give you $200 cash back reward whenever you spend $1,000 in the first 90 days. Now you might be thinking, I have to spend $1,000 to get $200 back? Yes, because if you're treating your credit card, like I said, like you're treating it like cash, that's just over $300 a month that you'll have to spend in order to reap those $200 cash rewards. So use that card to buy your groceries, fill up your gas tank, pay a bill, whatever. You can very easily get that $200 cashback reward. And they offer 0% interest for the first 15 months. I wouldn't pay too much attention to interest because you're not going to be paying any interest because you're paying off your credit card at the end of every month. The APR doesn't really matter. It can be sky high. You're going to be paying 0% because you're not going to let the balance roll over into the next billing cycle, right? The next one is the Amazon Prime credit card. If you have Amazon Prime, you've seen the little credit card option. They always offer it to you at checkout. That's a good credit card. You only have to have a 640 credit score in order to be approved. There's no annual fees, and they offer you a $100 Amazon gift card as a sign-on bonus. And of course, you get other cashback rewards as well. The next one is the Apple credit card. The Apple credit card, you only have to have a 600 credit score in order to be approved. You get cashback rewards, and then they also offer tracking spending to help you stay organized and monitor your spending. So once you build your credit up for a couple of years and you start to have very good credit, I would recommend applying for the American Express Blue Cash credit card. You get 2% cash back on filling up with fuel and 3% on groceries and 1% on all of your other purchases. Now, typically with American Express, there is an annual fee of $250, but with the Amex Blue Cash Everyday card, that's not the case. There is no annual fee. After you've had this card for a while, then you can bump up to American Express Gold, and then American Express Platinum, then American Express Black, and the perks are insanely good. Did I tell you guys what APR is? I don't think I did. I'm readjusting. Okay, APR, write this down. It stands for annual percentage rate. From the first day of the billing cycle all the way to the last day. Your average daily balance times your daily periodic rate times the number of days in a period equals the amount of interest charged. That's how you get your APR. But again, we don't have to worry about that because why? Yes, girl. You're paying your balance off at the end of the month. We treat our credit card as if it were cash. See, you're not going to be one of those millions of Americans who are stuck in credit card debt because you're only using your credit card to build credit. You're not using it as a source of income. I cannot tell you, I just can't believe all the people out there who get a credit card and they're just like, oh, I have money. That is not money. I mean, it's money, but it is a loan that you have to pay off in 30 days. And that's why they get into the trouble that they get into. And I feel like it's not really their fault. I mean, some people just don't have self-control, but other people simply didn't know. I really feel like this should be a class that they teach seniors in high school because this is a life skill that affects you for the rest of your life. And in America, they don't give you that option. I mean, you do have the option to not build credit, but if you're one of those people who are just like, I'm just gonna use cash. If I don't have the cash, then I don't have the money and I'm not gonna buy it. Well, that's fine. But then what about when you want to buy a car? What about when you want to buy a house? What about when you need a loan to start your business? It affects your entire life. Building credit is so vital to adulthood. Start as soon as you're 18, get a secured credit card from your bank, or even see if your parents will put you on their credit card if they have good credit, and you can just piggyback off of them. Now let's talk about some credit card myths. I can't tell you how many people say, don't get a credit card, it's bad, it's just gonna get you into debt. No, because you have to use it as cash. The second thing is they say it's bad to have more than one credit card. No, it's the opposite. The more credit you have, the better your credit score is going to be. The more credit that you have open, the more available credit you have, which lowers your utilization rate. So if you have one credit card that gives you a $1,000 spending limit, and then you have another one that gives you a $500 spending limit, and another one that gives you a $10,000 spending limit, now you have available credit of $11,500. So the more credit you have open, the more credit you have, and the lower your utilization rate will be. The next myth is carry over a balance because it helps your credit score. I hear that all the time. Don't pay off your credit card at the end of the month. Carry a little bit of a balance to the next month because it'll raise your credit score. False. That is not true. Carrying over a balance and keeping it below 30% will keep you in good standing and have good credit. But paying off your credit card at the end of the month is not only the safe bet, but it equally gives you good credit. You don't have to carry a balance. Don't do it. Remember, one late payment stays on your credit for 7 years. And the last one is when people say, don't check your credit score, it'll hurt your credit. That is not true. You can check your own credit. It will not affect your credit score. It's only when you have businesses checking your credit that it is a part of the total inquiries that we were talking about earlier, and it only stays on your credit for 6 months. So again, don't make a habit of having businesses do that. But if you need to buy a home, buy a car, those are normal things. Well, that's all I have for credit cards today. I hope this video was helpful to you guys. I'm gonna link in the description below again what those best credit cards are for starting out. I think I may have missed one, so I'll just be sure to list about 5 of them. Keep in mind, you guys, that credit is everything. You've got to pay your bills on time. Remember to live below your means. Just because you have the money in your bank account doesn't mean that you can afford something. So if I only make $2,000 a month, I shouldn't get an apartment that costs $1,000 a month because that's half of my income. And you still have a car payment, possibly car insurance, your phone, utilities, groceries, everything else. And let's not forget savings. In the next video, we're going to be talking about saving money and most importantly, budgeting. That's the most exciting part for me. I'm going to tell you guys how to create a budget for yourself depending on your income, your lifestyle. We're going to talk about living below your means and ensuring that your bank account always looks good. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about today. If you learned anything at all, please give the video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Don't forget you can always follow me on social media. My Instagram and my second channel is linked in the description below. You guys have an awesome rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.